Hi there and welcome to this video. Today we're going to be talking about hearing loss and tinnitus, and we're going to be addressing the question, is hearing loss and tinnitus the same thing? It's very common to mistake the two of them to be the same thing, but there is some differences and I'm going to walk you through it. I'm also going to share with you my story on how I ended up suffering with hearing loss as well as tinnitus. But let's first talk about this channel. It's called Deal with Tinnitus. It's the first video that I'm making, and it's going to be talking about not only tinnitus but also hearing health as well as everything else that's related to hearing health. So please go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you want to be kept up to date on what is happening in the world of hearing health. Alright, so let's first start talking about hearing loss. Now, hearing loss often means changes in sounds where you can't hear the sounds well compared to others. So it can mean mild hearing loss where you can't hear the softer noises compared to severe hearing loss where you can't hear loud noises. Now, there's various causes of hearing losses. It can be aging, it can be exposure to loud music or machinery, or it can be infections or injury to the ear, and different types of things will cause hearing loss. For example, if you look at aging, you have those tiny hair cells in your ear, and as you age they might not work as well as when you are younger. As a result, it's not going to be able to pick up the sounds. Same thing with the loud music and loud noises. These can also cause damage to those tiny hair cells. And then when you cause infections, injuries, those cases there, you might actually get damage to the actual inner ear, maybe the auditory nerve or something like that. And this is where you have the hearing loss. Now, hearing loss is very common, and as you grow older and you suffer from hearing loss, it's important to pick it up so that you can actually do something about it, so you can lead a much more better quality of your life by having some medical intervention or medical treatment. So that in a nutshell is hearing loss. Alright, so now let's talk about tinnitus. Now, they pronounce it as tinnitus, or you can pronounce it as tinnitus. Whatever the way you pronounce it, it is usually hissing, buzzing, whistling noise that is not caused by an external source. It is not a disease, but it can be a symptom of an underlying condition. Now, the symptoms of tinnitus, it can vary. Some people will experience it as a loud hum noise. Other people may experience it as a high-pitched hearing noise. It can be there constantly, or it can fluctuate. It can affect both ears. It can affect people's ability to concentrate or even sleep. And what causes tinnitus? Well, that can also be caused by loud noise, music, machinery. Also, some infections and injuries can also cause tinnitus. Even medical conditions like maybe high blood pressure or diabetes. And me, as a tinnitus sufferer, I can tell you that it can be challenging to have it, especially if you have a hearing loss, and sometimes it just drives you crazy. And if you're suffering from tinnitus, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, what are the differences between hearing loss and tinnitus? Let's talk about that. Alright, now we're going to talk about the differences between hearing loss and tinnitus. Now, they are often mentioned together, but they are two different things. Now, remember, with hearing loss, it affects with your ability to hear sounds clearly, while with tinnitus, it's going to add unwanted sounds into your mind. So like I said, they can be mentioned together, but they are two different issues. With hearing loss, you are going to have difficulty with maybe hearing the volume and the clarity of sounds around you, like maybe when you're engaging in a conversation or trying to enjoy music. With tinnitus, on the other hand, it's going to add unwanted sounds to this hearing experience. And this is why there's a difference between the two. But one of the key differences between the two of them is that with hearing loss, it can get progressively worse over time, especially with the aging or maybe continuous exposure to the loud noises. With tinnitus, it can remain constant, can fluctuate, or maybe it can change in intensity. And this unpredictability can be stressful for someone who is suffering from tinnitus. Now, coming back to myself, I lost my hearing, and exposure to loud noise, and that has caused my hearing loss. As a result of that, I have started also hearing this buzzing and crazy noises, so the tinnitus was added onto that. And added to that, I'm permanently deaf in my ear, so that makes it even more challenging. I had no choice but to go for a hearing aid, and that's what we're going to talk about next. How do you manage the hearing loss and the tinnitus? Okay, so now let's talk about managing your hearing loss or your tinnitus. How do you go about managing? Now, there are a lot of aids out there, there are a lot of tools out there. Like in my case, I use a hearing aid, and these hearing aids, they don't just act as amplifiers. They actually help to cancel out the background noise, and they help to make the conversations much more clearer. And in a case like this, I would definitely recommend speaking to an audiologist, where they can help to find the best suitable option for you. Look, when it comes to the hearing loss, you need to avoid the loud noises. You need to avoid those kind of things that are aggravating your hearing loss, or that can make it worse. Unfortunately for me, I stopped going to concerts and that sort of thing, and I love my music and I love the concerts, but because, as I mentioned, I'm totally deaf in the one ear, I've only got one more year left for the rest of my life, and I can't afford to take any chances and go to concerts and cause more damage that I'm going to regret for the rest of my life. And I should also let you know, my profession, I'm a pharmacist by profession, so I'm constantly engaging with people. So I need to make sure my hearing is fine. Otherwise, I won't be able to do my job properly. What about managing your tinnitus? Well, there's a lot of therapies that you can use. First of all, you got things like sound machines or maskers that you can use. There's a lot of apps, and on this channel, I'm going to be introducing you to a lot of different methods, a lot of different aids that you can actually use, relaxation techniques, even meditation, reducing your stress levels. Now, a lot of people say that coffee can aggravate it. I've even written an article on my website where caffeine intake can aggravate your tinnitus. I guess it used to happen to me before, but now these days I have found that even me, if I drink coffee, my hearing is fine. So I think the bottom line is it really does depend from person to person. It's all about you diarizing and eliminating certain things, and then trying something. What may work for you may not work for me. So it's all about just finding what's the right thing for ourselves. Okay, so that concludes my video on is hearing loss and tinnitus the same thing. I hope that this video has answered your questions. If you have any other questions, or if you want to share your experience of your hearing loss or your tinnitus, or you want to ask anything, feel free to use the comment section below this video. And before I leave you, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also check out my website, dealwithtinnitus.com, where you can get more information about some of the devices that I've reviewed and some of the therapies that I've mentioned for tinnitus as well as for hearing health. I'm looking forward to checking out in my next video, and I wish you everything of the best in your hearing health. Goodbye.